Super Monkey Ball is a beloved arcade series that's been around for 20 years, yet somehow, behind the scenes, there has been a story playing out that nobody has taken the time to truly look into. So join me today as we look at what's actually been going on in this world. Hi everybody, I'm here at a zoo from 2 towns over with my dear pal Bobo, the ever-iconic baboon. We aren't welcome at our home zoo because Bobo used to live there and had like 3 people fall into his enclosure or something, and we can't go to the other one because somebody doesn't realize Dippin' Dots cost money. So Super Monkey Ball is near and dear to my heart, but the story, it's definitely not as fun for me, I would say. Our main location in Monkey Ball is Jungle Island, also referred to as Monkey Island. Each of the games will usually start in this location and then branch to different locations based on the circumstances. The biggest challenge from this discussion is namely how information is presented. Usually it comes from stuff like game manuals and character descriptions. The first event in our timeline will take place in June 23rd of 2001. The first game is a good example of how badly information is conveyed. This is an arcade game where 3 of the 4 most important characters live with each other. You got I, the main man, pretty normal every monkey, Mimi, girl monkey, and Baby, who has the hardest retcons I have ever seen. In a few of the early games, Baby is the baby of the other 2 characters, who are probably married, though later on this marriage gets completely ignored, and Baby is retconned to him instead being a time-traveling baby from the future, which is a big difference that impacts the other characters. So for a minute, I thought maybe this game could be later in the timeline, but I don't really think that's the case because of our 4th main character, Gon. In this game, he's technically a bad guy and led his pirate gorillas on a crusade to steal all the bananas I's village has. This is a problem because monkeys only eat bananas in this universe. Luckily though, the main family escapes and sleeps hidden away, but while asleep, I receives a monkey message. When the Grand Monkey tells him there's a bunch of mazes that leads to a banana sanctuary in the banana realm. The Grand Monkey also bestows I's family with the ability to perform magic through casting the spell Poo. So the next day they try the spell and 3 balls fall from the sky, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's probably normal. So then they go through the endless mazes, which is the rest of the game, but little do they know that Gon was following them the whole time. And when they reach the sanctuary, Gon the gorilla converts his religion upon the sight. It takes him about 1/5 of a second to recognize the error of his ways and joins the main crew. I guess it's purely because of the sight of the bananas or something. I guess religion does that to a guy. And despite the sanctuary having access to infinite bananas, which could easily end any world hunger issues or any of the plots in the future, this is never brought up again. I'm gonna treat Super Monkey Ball and Monkey Ball as the same game, so we're just gonna get rid of that and move straight to August 25th, 2002, Super Monkey Ball 2. This game does actually have a story and opens up with Dr. Baboon stealing all the dull-branded bananas of the land. He's also from the future, so that's cool. Don't know how else to say it, but literally all of these games revolve around bananas, time travel, or some combination of the 2. In retaliation to Baboon's devious activities, I calls him a little Kentucky Fried bitch with no friends except for what I'd assume is his slave. The Baboon puts all the bananas in a bunch of Monkey Ball stages for them to collect, so the team is gonna have to roll around these giant balls to end their local famine. I guess the Grand Monkey's spell has been better learned by the main cast because after saying the ever-iconic catchphrase, hop, step, jump, poo, let us cooperate, yeah, woo, magical spell is poo, they all get the power of levitation, I guess, but they need to be in the balls, and I would assume that the goalposts allow them to continue flying. I don't know, that makes sense. I really don't know why they don't just fly through the levels. They totally can, but whatever. After World 1 is completed, Baboon reappears and exclaims his motives. So long story short, Baboon is an insecure and horny douchebag who has stolen all the bananas of Jungle Island so that Mimi wants to become his wife. Then, he'll return the bananas. This is a problem, however, because let me remind you, I and Mimi are already in a clearly stable and hopefully non-toxic relationship. I would assume I respects women. And if they don't stay together, Baby's gonna cease to exist because the time travel shenanigans, yeah, it comes back. So 3 of the 4 characters would not benefit from Mimi hooking up with Baboon. Gon is indifferent. Justifiably, she says no. Baboon then responds by threatening to sink their home by bombing the local volcano. Gon punches it, and it perfectly hits the bad boy blimp. I think you get the pattern of this game. They go to a place, say the magical spell, and goof Bad Boon's gunk. However, it's still too funny to glance over. So then the gang catches up with the uncool dude, heading to his next hideout, and then a whale shows up and eats everyone. Again, they can fly. This city inside the whale can't do that. They're just stupid. After being taken, they do exactly what Marlin and Dory do in Finding Nemo and go through the blowhole, taking everyone to a nice little amusement park town on Kiki Island. Despite the folks of their home likely starving, the monkey pals go on some rides and accidentally find Baboon's secret factory hideout where he's producing AI robots for some reason. He also shrinks the monkeys and takes them to Adventure Forest, forcing Mimi to a dinner date. I don't like this. Anyway, this not-so-lovable doctor decides he's hungry for boiled baby monkeys, and justifiably, Mimi is so uncomfortable that she flies up his nose for him to sneeze everyone away, and then he decides to take a bath. Afterwards, the tiny monkeys crawl into his clothes, tickling him so hard he has a seizure and unshrinkifies the gang. I'm honestly kind of interested how this correlates with this, but hey, you know, that's fun. Right after, the AI bots get destroyed before anything happens with them, and Bad Boon goes to space. Which, let me say, a monkey in space? That's a little bit preposterous if you ask me. But who cares? He's gonna shoot a laser that makes all the bananas taste like curry. That's probably bad if you don't like curry. AI and his pals fly directly to space and blow up the space colony. All the bananas are saved. Hooray! The bad fellas land directly at the start point and immediately surrender, and the Bad Boon dies on sight, presumably killing him off for the rest of the series. We actually do not see him come back, and bananas start raining. I feel like that would be a bad thing if they fell from the sky. By the way, why do they talk like they're in a foreign propaganda movie in this game? It feels like a badly dubbed anime. November 20th, 2002, Monkey Ball Jr. is a game that does in fact exist. Like, actually, I could not for the life of me find anything other than it looks gross and reuses a lot of levels from previous games. December 1st, 2005, Touch and Roll for the DS. Once again, need to note, nothing plot relevant here. This was the one I played the most growing up, and maybe it's because I emulated it and then I played it on my DS, but I remember the game being a little bit faster and more fun to control. It's still an alright time. I really like how this one looks, just that this is a weird game that does have that good old DS charm. June 30th, 2006, Super Monkey Ball Adventure. First off, I thought this was a made-up game. I have never heard or seen anyone talk about this one, and I can kinda see why. So this time around, the Super Monkey Ball gang's adventure revolves around depression and racism. No, I'm not making this up. The Monkey Ball gang is enjoying a banana barbecue until they find out royalty from the neighboring monkey countries of Monkeytropolis and Shangri-La have gone missing. So after investigating, they find out the prince and princess of each country has gone hiding in Jungle Island. This is a problem because of actual racism. These two states despise each other. Both of these countries are not friends, so the monkey pals need to end the feuds of the two neighboring countries. When the prince of Monkeytropolis and princess of Shangri-La want to get married, I proposes setting up an absolute rager of a wedding, and King Jun, the ruler of Jungle/Monkey Island, is like, dude, that would freaking bop. Do you know how sick that would be? So then he lets them go on their quest across each of the lands and Zootopia to stop racism. So what the playable monkey crew needs to do again is travel all around and make everyone chill out, stop all their problems, knock off all the shenanigans. Along the way, there's some depression monsters named naysayers that are created when the monkeys are sad. They need to be beaten, and they do eventually. Seemingly, all of these events happen across one day, but it's wild how fast this adventure escalates. Eventually, the wedding does finally happen, and the monkeys successfully attain world peace. Then it's revealed that one character from before is I from the future, who also casually is the co-inventor of a time machine right alongside future Gon. No idea how or why. I don't think he's that smart, but he sure is. Yeah, so Future II is objectively the dumbest character in the series. After surviving all of the adventures so far, plus the ones ahead, this dude remembers that his future self sent back help. So without questioning it, II throws his baby back in time to help his younger self and his girlfriend out instead of, I don't know, time traveling his self. Future II already knows that he gets help from time traveling, and it would be so easy to just, like, do it yourself. and could just go straight to the end of the games and like just knock the guy over, kill the bad guy, stop Baboon. You don't have to throw your infant son in some dangerous bullshit, you goofy goofball. After completion, he also reveals that he invented the magic balls, so I guess he's also the Grand Monkey. I would assume so, at least. This is the first ever monkey ball theory I've seen. I'ma just go with it. Also, he takes the giant balls back, so then the gang has to invent them, and Baby decides to return back home with Future. This all gets retconned in the next game. November 19th, 2006, Banana Blitz. We have 2 new major pals who join the monkey gang. Yan Yan does martial arts and wants to be with the funny big-eared as more than just friends. Oh my, Mimi doesn't like that. There's drama afoot. Ooh. This never matters, and neither does Yan Yan, if I'm being honest. Doctor is funny because he randomly showed up with amnesia one day, and now he's just a permanent member of the cast. He's my favorite. In Banana Blitz, the gang is enjoying the Golden Banana Bunch until this new guy, Captain Krabuchin, steals it. So now they gotta go and get the golden bananas back. And then they do that. But not before fighting some of the most unfun bosses in a game. Like, at some point, it's just awful. I don't know, something about random knockback-based bosses. These guys are not fun. And at the end, it's actually revealed that the golden bananas can turn into a space boat, I guess. And now these guys can travel through space now, and maybe they've already been doing it. I wouldn't really know. Do you think there's any cohesive narrative when one of your characters is named Mimi? That's what I thought. Now, why is this important, you may be wondering? Why is it important that the monkeys can fly through space? Well, it's because of Sonic the Hedgehog, of course. There's a pretty sizable amount of crossovers, actually, and I think these are all part of the story. So it seems like I'm gonna be going over Sonic now, which is good because I would consider myself a Sonic fan. I like the music, I play a sizable portion of the games. I think Shadow is cool both ironically and unironically, and like any true fan, I can't decide if anything in the franchise has ever been good. I'm only kind of familiar with the Sonic story, though. I know a few tidbits, but I'm gonna catch up real quick. Just take a gander at the game plot, get it all sorted out, and yeah, you know, it'll only take me a second. I have changed my mind. We're gonna go off my memory. As much as I would like to talk about Sonic's story, I don't actually. There's like 15 separate continuities. The games alone would take 30 minutes. There's really only a few things that are gonna impact the remainder of our tale. I need to tell you monkey ballers about our nuisance of a neighbor in the Sega neighborhood that is Sonic the Hedgehog. See, one happy day, the Sonic people said everything is canon on Twitter.com, which wouldn't be a problem if this was a Sega game like Wild Woody or Vectorman, but no, this is Sonic, one of the most iconic characters ever, who's had dozens of games and crossovers. By technicality, Monkey Ball is connected to Flow from Progressive, but does it really matter? Well, the best way I could describe this Monkey Ball and Sonic situation would be if a whale of a mother was at their local mall food court and was entranced by the smell of Panda Express, which is a stand-in for a lot of things, and their poor 4-year-old stepson was involuntarily yanked by their leash along for the ride, all while not getting anything but some slightly above average orange chicken scraps. Still though, the more you think about it, the more you realize this statement is debatably one of the worst things that could happen to anyone making a video about the entire story of a Sega game that was caught in Sonic's silly-ass crossfire, and wouldn't you know it, there's a monkey ball in Sonic the Hedgehog, so you gotta talk about it. From 2006 to now, I guess, I and the others can be found in Sonic crossovers. I has been grinding on a hoverboard, racing again, playing tennis, and doing whatever the hell this is. So that's all fine and dandy. It might be worse. I wouldn't know. Next game we got is February 9th, 2010, which is Step and Roll. You know what's better than a gimmicky game on the Wii? A gimmicky game on the Wii. This is Jam. He's an athletic trainer. I guess the magical giant energy balls have been making these Homo sapiens rather sluggish. So this game's the monkey ball equivalent of going to the gym, but when failing a set, you fall miles from the sky. And that's a bummer. March 3rd, 2011, Super Monkey Ball 3D. The first ever 3D game in the series. Honestly, looking at this game, I don't know what else to say. In 8 straight worlds, each playable monkey sees a banana and travels to some kind of realm afterward. There's alternate skins of the characters that are supposedly like doppelgangers or something else, which is interesting, but they don't really seem to be doing much, except for a baby. He's the secret agent clone of the time-traveling baby. There's also this new guy, Jet. He's kind of a dick who made himself rivals with not much else to put there. October 2011, Ticket Blitz. This is an arcade exclusive game, which is alright, I guess. Not too much I can say here, other than it looks fun enough. It reuses the Wii game assets, if that interests you. June 14th, 2012, Banana Splits. Basically, the doctor wants to make a time machine. Of course he does. And he's successful. All the characters go to try it. It turns out it's a toy time machine. What that means is that everything's all artsy and goofy when they go back in time, so now they gotta go through more maze hellholes to return to normalcy. You can also unlock, like, art versions of the characters, and if I'm being honest, they kind of freak me out. I never thought I could throw a cardboard baby monkey into a hellhole death trap of mazes in a capsule, but here we are. September 4th, 2014, Monkey Ball Bounce is the only mobile game with a unique plot and also got delisted. One day, the pals are looking at bananas like they always do, then everyone gets captured by robots except II, then the rest of the game happens. There's apparently a Professor Boskus in this game, but from my knowledge, literally nobody cared enough to document anything about this game's characters, and it may just be lost media. Wow, that was like 4.5 games in no time at all. I need to extend this rambling somehow. So I'm gonna hold this here on the screen for a few seconds so I can make this section a bit longer than 90-ish seconds. No other reason. Did you know besides potassium, bananas also contain a lot of vitamin B, C, magnesium, and fiber? I think that's cool. Once again, please excuse me, fellas. I have to keep this bit going a little bit longer. Tuition's quite expensive. This Gamer Sub sponsor bit is for a good cause. If you're in college, I highly recommend you keep applying for scholarships and meet with the academic advisors. Believe me, it can help in the long run. I am really serious about that. I really do recommend you do that if you're going to college. Anyway, although this is the end, this isn't the end. On October 29th, 2019, we would be blessed with an entirely new adventure. One with an in-depth story with lots of love and care. It's Banana Blitz again. It's the same game as the one on the Wii. Can't complain much otherwise. I mean, the entire crew is here, even the not full members. You got Yan Yan, Doctor, Sonic, oh no! Oh, this is bad, you guys. You have no idea. Oh, no. So far, the only Sonic we've seen interact with II is modern Sonic, the one with green eyes and whatever. This is classic Sonic. Starting from November 1st, 2011, this thing called the Time Eater in Sonic Generations was used by Dr. Eggman to bring the past and future together. The result of this is that classic versions of Sonic characters meet their modern selves and save the day as a team. This is not without consequence. Unlike Monkey Ball, where the characters were aware of time travel and were gonna have to time travel back in the future, this isn't the case in Generations. None of the modern characters whose past selves were in this adventure brought up that they were gonna do this adventure. The best way I would compare the time travel between these two games would be considering Monkey Ball time travel as deliberate, whereas Sonic Generations time travel is forced. The results of this is classic Sonic from Generations returns back in time, and this is where shit really falls apart. I would assume classic Sonic returns to the end of the classic trilogy, or at least somewhere between those lines, and then the timeline splits post-Generations, and the classic characters who returned to their own world seemingly create new adventures and conflicts via Sonic Mania, Sonic Mania Plus, and I'm guessing Sonic Superstars. So that's, well, these two were identical, but not anymore. So that's all fine and dandy, but how does this impact the monkeys? Well, I'm gonna offer the idea that Banana Blitz HD takes place in the classic Sonic timeline as its own separate event. Now, I'm aware this is kind of a weird way to think about it, but if the Sonic folks say everything is canon, and Monkey Ball is part of that, this is the only way I could see this making sense in any way. I think because of Sonic's timeline being altered in a different part of the same universe, this adventure changes in such a way where he too gets into a ball after you unlock him in World 8, which is also after they travel through space, so the main game stays the same. It's just that when the Monkey Ball gang goes to visit Sonic, instead of not joining or not meeting them, he does, because maybe it's a boring Tuesday or something, and maybe because the timeline got altered. And again, he's a completely different character. The motives of Captain Krabbitchin stay the same, and there's still a bad boss fight. It's just that his own life is being altered via the forced time travel, and I believe that these are separate things that very slightly do impact the story. And that leaves us with October 5th, 2021 in Banana Mania. This game's mostly remade content from the first 2 games, and I would say this is probably the best way to get into the series. Generally speaking, all Sega games seem to exist in a shared world. I'm sure it comes to nobody's shock when joining the Monkeys. There's new pals, including that one guy from Smash Bros, Rollerblade Ricky, Yellow Thing, Sonic's Yellow Thing, a Sega Dreamcast, and Kazuma Kiryu from Yakuza, if he was a victim of selective breeding. I know that in the other timeline this game takes place before Banana Blitz, but considering the main conflict revolves around Dr. Bad Boon time traveling, I'm just gonna ignore that fact. And it's a good reason I am too, because these cutscenes suck. I don't want to see them dancing and watch I's ankle clip after every cutscene. This and this aren't the same thing. It hurts me. It really does. These cutscenes are genuinely miserable. So with all that being said, it seems that like our final timeline is gonna look like this. Almost like some weird figure 8 with a good amount of time traveling shenanigans. Thanks for that, Sonic. When looking at the whole series, it's weird. Like, I like the games, but I'm also pretty sure most of these games are just alright. But we can't forget about the party games, the other thing Monkey Ball is known for. A bunch of different minigames among the already existing games. You got stuff like Monkey Fight, a weird little hockey game, racing but in a car, racing in red light, green light, Monkey Ball but top down, this target game that I can never figure out the physics, and Monkey Boxing. I'm gonna assume the party games are what the monkeys do in their free time between games. It makes sense to me. From my knowledge, nobody should be upset about that. As long as they aren't jumping, the Monkey Ball fans hate it when the monkeys can jump. And jumping monkeys is a big no-no here. In terms of a future in this series, I quite literally have zero expectations or ideas where they would go from here. The only options seem to be either an extreme lack of story or an expedition that goes longer than the Zhou dynasty. I could see there being some sort of character development, but 90% of these games feel like developers straight up just forgot to put up a story until the game was finished, and then they put them in the manuals. Whatever happens, I'll be awkwardly standing moderately gauche and blurred in the distance while playing Crazy Taxi. I like Crazy Taxi, not much to say other than the taxi is pretty dang crazy, and that'll do it. I hope you had fun. I hope you guys fixed this dang statistic. It's supposed to be the opposite of this. Please, make sure to change your car's oil. Don't forget you have an assignment due at midnight. Hey, also, Spencer, there's someone behind you. Nah, I'm just messing with you. I don't know anyone named Spencer. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go back to the concession stand. I got a soft pretzel with my name probably on it. I hope not, though. Sharpie does not taste good.